to go through COVID better than anyone. I know what it's like to try to pay bills, and I don't get a city credit card or my flights paid for. Like, it was hell, and we managed to grow during that time. Bricks and mortar, well, Gloucester, you know, he's opened up a Malin-Tulin, and he's created over like 60 jobs in the last couple months. There's lots of bricks and mortar opportunities. The bigger problem I think we need to face in the community right now is the fact that we're about to boom again. And you're going to see jobs like crazy, and meetings and conventions back during the boom, you couldn't get a place. The hotels were full, the meetings were full, all of that. So the question going forward, is this model the right model? And I think it was based on the Edmonton model, which actually ended up going back to the city. It failed. Now, at the same time, there's a lot of good people there, and they put a lot of work in. And I'm concerned in the sense, well, if you take it all away after they've worked so hard, maybe there needs to be a compromise where we really investigate what economic development is for McMurray. And I think basing on an Edmonton model does not suit us. Red Deer has 6 people, and they have more population. They have way more land development. They've got the gasoline alley. Now, that's not under the 6 people. There's a separate thing. But that's a significant difference in size of population, and they have a surrounding population and all that. The thing when I hear about Costco, I'm so sick of hearing about Costco over and over again. Here's the thing that really economic development needs to do immediately. They need to meet with all of the existing businesses here tomorrow. Robbie Rice from Home Hardware, he knows what Costco will do to him because they all have home hardwares all over the country, and they know how to open up so many proximity and what a Costco does to them. I'm yay or nay on Costco, but what I do know is the people that have invested in this community, they need to be far more connected to economic development than they are now. And the other thing is that, and I want not to make this about me or my business, but the amount of outside people from consultants that the municipality handles or that come up here all the time, it's insane. It's been insane for years before ECDEV. That needs to change, and the people that are here, we need to build their capacity so they can actually grow their businesses, and the specific types of expertise that they can have, you can farm that in a little bit. So overall, I'm not going to tell you how to vote tonight, whether you keep ECDEV or not, but what I think is the model, maybe council needs to look at it, and maybe council needs to be more involved. The only thing that I can think of, without bringing it back into the municipality, is when we had the recovery committee for the fire, you had 2 councillors on the actual board. And maybe the board needs to be more operational. Dan Fouts is right. They're a very successful board. I mean, CEO of WestJet, Dan Fouts, I mean, he's the richest guy in all of Alberta. A very successful businessman. I'm just kidding there. My point is that there's a lot of success there. Maybe they need to be more operations, because the vast majority of the community right now, as Al said before, they're fed up, and maybe they're just fed up because it's COVID and the world will get better, but we definitely need to address these issues immediately if we're going to actually have an economic development and tourism that actually benefits us, because it belongs to us. It belongs to people in the community. It's not just for the board, and it's not just for the workers. It belongs to all of us. And we all, to Kevin's point, if we're going to take that message with the place brand and all that, well, we have to embrace it. But then we also have to actually believe in it. And I think I think that's the biggest problem with it. It's sort of like, as much as the work went into it,
sorry,
and you know,
sorry, Robbie, you can wrap that up. You're over your 5 minutes.
I'm over my 5 minutes. My point is, for all of that hard work, if we're going to come together, maybe we need to really look at the depth of this and see how we can come together for a proper solution.
Thank you. And any questions from council? Have Councillor McGrath?
Thank you. First of all, Robbie, thanks for everything you do in the community, and your all sands strong and clean oil and the productions you put on and stuff, so that's well. As a business owner that's been around, what would you do tomorrow morning if you were given the opportunity to do BD about our image?
I'd stop. I would do one thing. I think that we have a big problem in this community. We don't grow this community properly. We grow too big. That's why Conklin has a rec center for 250 people that should never have been built.
Wait. This is not about what we have already. The question is, if you were given the keys to a BD strategy for economic development, what would it look like?
Okay, so I'll kind of sum up what I was trying to say into one point. First, we build small, and we start believing in ourselves. I don't think having a Costco is going to make a hill of beans difference here. We build small community centers, small things, small businesses, and build ourselves up and be more proud of who we really are. I did the marketing for the racetrack this year. Very successful, very easy, low-hanging fruit. We need way more of that. We need to stop bringing outside consultants from Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto, and telling us who we are or how to be. We're never going to be Toronto, Montreal, or any of those places. We need to embrace who we are, be proud of who we are, and grow who we are. People come here for jobs and opportunity. When the oil plants start hiring again, which they will because oil prices are going up, you'll see more people here. I always see a good barometer of success in McMurray when you see a junker car on the highway, because you know someone from somewhere is coming here for a better life. That is the easiest thing to do. And then from a marketing standpoint, it's very easy to market. You come up with some good stuff and you show the community as a place of opportunity. I think we've gone too far with trying the absurd of trying to be something we're not for too long.
I certainly appreciate your observations and your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McGrath. Are there any other questions? I'm not seeing any, so thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councilor Cardinal.
Thanks for your presentation, Rob. I wanted to reiterate the question from Councillor McGrath. From your perspective as a person that showcases cultures and small businesses, how, in your vision, how would you develop from the economic development and tourism for the rural communities? How would you? I want to ask that question because I find that showcasing our cultures and our economic development has to start with the community itself, but with from videos or whatever it may be, right? So
I got a real answer for that. I think, well, it was nice when they did the campaign on the fishing lodges, okay? Fishing lodges are unattainable for the average person. It's $5,000 minimum to go. You're sitting on a gold mine in Chip. It's beautiful. When we were up there, I would activate Chip. I'd rebuild that lodge, and I would subsidize a deal with McMurray Aviation if I was the keys for the economic development money to make affordable flights, and I would build local tourism right to Chip, not to the lodges, to Chip, and build boating in there. And I think the problem the rural areas have is they don't offer much. Okay, if you go to Chip, you can't get a haircut. We talked about that, right? Conklin's it's on a beautiful lake, right? But there's nothing there. Mariana Lake sits empty. I'd build a marina in Gregoire. I would activate small, attainable, affordable things that average people can access. Fishing lodges and stuff are amazing if you can afford them, but most people can't afford them, even if they're working at Suncor or Syncrude. That is how you activate it. But Chip is the most beautiful place ever, but you have to activate it with tangibles, and I think that's something that it's not that hard to do. And I think when you're meeting with them, I would see how to activate that. Low-hanging fruit is what we need right now, not the big, absurd, giant things that we constantly try to have or want.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cardinal. Councilor Ball.
Hello.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the chair to Robbie. I just wanted to, frankly, thank you for one of your comments. We sat in sessions the last 2 days working on strategic planning, and one of my pet peeves is we've spent about the last 15 years trying to be someone who we're not, building monster hockey rinks downtown and all that stuff that took place. And you're right, we need to celebrate who we are and build small. So I just wanted to thank you for that comment. So.
Yeah, I think, and no, this is actually my first time ever speaking on council, believe it or not, for as much of a loudmouth as I can be. That is, we have a football field that we've only had 2 games in. It's a problem, and our wealth, in one hand, is why we're such a great community. On the other hand, I think let's investigate places like Grand Prairie, Red Deer, Sudbury, Saskatoon, Regina. They're bigger, and build off of what they do, because here's the situation that we are blessed with, but it's also a bit of a curse, right? smaller communities that are forced to go through hard times have to penny pinch, right? You want to fix a neighborhood. Okay, if you got a bad neighborhood like in New York, you get a couple gay guys. They come in there, they fix it up, and they paint it, and next thing you know, you have like a fancy area, all the rich people move in. It's awesome. We need that type of we need that type of attitude here. If we found a place that is successful with low money and we take that approach, we'll have success everywhere. Like, I really believe we can have a festival season that no other community could have all the way from March until, because the sun doesn't set. So from March until October, you could do a lot. Like back to the 80s, Rib Fest, Thriller, the events, all the stuff that, Empty Bowls. We have a beautiful community, but we need to go small, not so large.
Councillor Benjoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman, and thank you for the presentation. I just want to ask a direct question. In what way has economic development reached out to people like you, engaged people like you in the community who are already doing something about the image of Fort McMurray, for instance, talking about building on what we already have and not imaginary Toronto or Chicago or becoming New York one day. So we need to work with what we already have more than thinking we are going to attract. If we can retain those that we already have here, engage them. So that's my question.
So I'm gonna compliment them, and I'm gonna be critical at the same time here. So the compliment is I did produce the Big Backyard series, and they were very receptive. And the one we did on Six Lakes, unfortunately, was taken down, but it was the highest reach they ever had on their social media. It was very, very good. And Michael was in charge of tourism at the time, and it was fun working with him. Where I will take a little bit is I find that there's just this need constantly, whether if it's through the RFP process or whatever, to pull back to the people in Edmonton or wherever that currently do their social media now. And I don't believe that the Edmonton people are any better. In fact, the reach has gone down. And I think going forward, I think one of the things that they should need to do is how do we strengthen the people here? And let's just say that we can't quite have the capacity. How do we build that capacity? And one of the things, like my business is doing very well right now, like we've got a web division and stuff, but one of the things that I refuse to do, if there's something that I can't do, I'll bring one person in, but I'll make sure that the people we lead our projects. And I think the projects that are in McMurray need to be led by people in McMurray, but if there's an aspect, like there's a certain technology that we can't do, you bring that one aspect in, not what we presently do where we bring that whole agency in. I think the agencies that have come in, I can give you pages of examples where they come in, they're here for a little while, and they're gone. And I think our community's hurting from that. I really believe we've had a lot of that, and I think, and if I was to challenge council, and I actually feel for you guys, because I think you guys should have a full-time position. This type of job with this type of budget and this type of insanity takes work and time and understanding. But I would challenge you guys to really get to the grit of what is wrong and try to find solutions for it. Understand, like for economic development, check every single city in the country. What are they doing? And we have the most unique place. Like you can't just take it from Red Deer. Like I gave that example of Red Deer having 6 people, but take aspects of that and make our own. And I think that's the biggest flaw. We've continuously gone outside for like somehow the technology of the people that are here, especially at site, we have the best in the world. We have talent. There's beautiful, talented people here. Grow here, build here, and make sure that the education stays here. And that's what I think we need to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. And we don't have any other questions there, so I'll just leave with one question. From your presentation, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but you can maybe clarify. So you're in favor of economic development, but you think the mandate might need to be changed. Is that?
I'm in favor of economic development, but I think that it seriously needs to have a new conversation how it was originally structured and what the pillars are. And I think that it would be a shame to just pull it, but at the same time, they need to show humility and they need to listen and they need to, find ways to find ways to get more in tune with what's happening, right? And I think the fact that they're kind of shocked that everyone in the community is upset, they're not really in tune with what's going on in the community, because it's hard to sit up there sit back there earlier and watch everybody kind of like, we got this plan and like, why can't you just see our vision? But I think the problem is that the barometer in the community is just so, like, they're like this, right? And these are people that have open businesses, that have successful businesses, that care about this community. And one thing that I didn't agree with what Greg said is we are invested in economic development. Every single person in this town is invested in economic development. Just because, I think that they need to really be in tune, reach out, show humility, and get the grasp of what we need to do to grow this community. So to answer your question, yes, but at the same time, I think we need to revisit what it is that economic development is for our region. And I mean, they're touching on a lot of stuff: tourism, place brand, and also kind of in their defense too, like a lot of, even myself, when I wanted money for videos, right? Well, the former CEO, Annette, she said, well, go to ECDEV and they'll sponsor your videos. Well, that wasn't the case. So I think in their defense, there needs to be a clear thing. What do they provide? What do you ask for? And that needs to be clear, so that they're not stuck being blamed for things that aren't necessarily in their wheelhouse. So to answer your question, yes, but I really think you guys need to be more critical, understand it, and they need to step up, show humility, and pivot a little bit to